Welcome back to the Box Score. We are thrilled to be with you for another season. The Minnesota Vikings failed to make the playoffs, so our previous host, Faith Pinot, didn't want to rejoin out of humiliation. This season, we have 4 hosts, 1 for each episode. For now, you have me, Jackson Tolliver, ready to bring you that red-hot analysis. Layla, roll the intro. The proverbial second half of the NBA season has begun after the All-Star break. The events of All-Star Weekend, however, once beloved by NBA fans, fell quite short of the mark. Now, how can Adam Silver and the NBA improve their All-Star break product? What new ideas can they implement? I'm joined by Evan Sharrard, Mackenzie Bruno, Kyler Maira, and Noah Berkowitz to break it all down. Noah, let's start with you. What do you think?
Well, I think there's a pretty clear and obvious choice here. We need to get all-stars in the dunk contest. That's been the cry for fans for a millennia now, it feels like. You know, there's only been 4 all-stars in the dunk contest since 2015. One of them was Jaylen Brown this past few weekends. It was Victor Oladipo, DeAndre Jordan, and Andre Drummond. When most of those guys are big men or not high-flying guys, don't you want to see a LeBron, a Ja Morant, a Zion Williamson, guys who are known for having those Hoop Life mixtapes in high school? I mean, I think the simple answer is take Kenny Smith off the broadcast and put all-stars into the dunk contest.
How do you incentivize that? How do you make all-stars be in the dunk contest? Do you force them to? Is it part of their contract? Do you pay them?
Well, I think you have a monetary incentive. I mean, there's something noble about competing for your own self-gain, but I think something on top of that is the fact that we should stop making fun of these all-stars that are actually going out. I mean, as bad as Jaylen Brown was, he was an all-star, and he went out and he did it. Now, jumping over a 5'3" Kai Cenat while sitting down is not something that I would describe as athletically amazing, but I think that, again, he went out and did it. I don't think we should be making fun of the guy the way we have been. We should make fun of the dunk, not the guy.
Okay, got it. Kyler, how about you? What's one thing that you would do to try to make this All-Star Weekend better?
Look, while that was a great idea by you, I think that the key with the All-Star Weekend is the All-Star game. We need to fix that. 200 points for one team, that's something that just can't be happening. And why? It's because the players aren't trying. The players will try it, however, if it's a USA versus the world format. The players will care more because they're playing for their countries, they're playing for their nations. And the fans care more because their nations are being represented. It's a cycle that will keep growing and growing and make people care more and more. Now, I'm not a scientist, but I believe that's called a symbiotic relationship.
I like that.
And that's what will happen if we do this tactic. Adam Silver has already said how much he loves this idea. He compared it to the Ryder Cup in golf, which has so much nationalistic hype for both the U.S. and the Europe. So it doesn't have to be country by country, but U.S. versus the world All-Star game, people will love it.
I don't want to put you on the spot here, but if it was this year, they did the USA versus world, what would your starting 5 be for each team?
Wow, that's a lot of players to name, but you'd get big names on each team. So like you could have the players who have been great for forever, so the Steph Currys and LeBrons on the U.S. team, and you have those new risers as the European leagues grow. So you have Giannis, who's been there for a while, but new players like Nikola Jokic, who's just breaking onto the scene and winning the MVP and the NBA championship. So you have stacked players from both eras on both teams, and that's what's important.
You get Shea in there from Canada.
Exactly.
You get Luka, of course, can't forget about him. Tatum would be on the American side.
Exactly.
Obviously.
Great
You see how
players
much
on
people
both
gotta
care
throw
about
in
that
three.
Rising Stars challenge, though, with
Yeah.
World versus USA.
Exactly. Now, Mackenzie, let's go to you. USA versus World, what would your idea be, something different?
Well, USA versus World, we already have a game and like that. It's called the Olympics. So
Fair
there
enough.
would be- there
The
would
Olympics
be-
sell, though, Mackenzie.
People care about
Yeah.
that.
But
The Olympics
that's
sell.
later. That's later in the year. I think there needs to be a one-on-one tournament because there's a few reasons that the All-Star game has been flubbing the past couple of years, and that's because there's no competitive energy whatsoever, and there's no incentive, whether that be monetary or bragging rights or a trophy or something that goes to towards your legacy. And so a one-on-one tournament, all hoopers know you can't hide when you're playing one-on-one, right? You can hide in an NBA All-Star game because no one's playing defense. Who cares? If LeBron's not playing defense, I'm not going to play defense. So in a one-on-one tournament, you're defending your name. You're playing for your own self-pride. Therefore, you're not going to, if LeBron and Steph Curry go against each other, you think Steph Curry is going to want to lose that game? There's also like,
He would lose that game, but
I disagree. I feel like the players don't want to get embarrassed. They're all
They don't
stars
wanna-
for a
they
reason.
don't wanna get-
no, but
want
I'm just
their
saying
name
that
trashed.
LeBron would beat Steph Curry in that 1v1 match.
100%.
This
But that's
idea-
the fun of it, right?
Right.
Like, fans want to see their favorite players. They want to see who the best of the best are, right? And clearly the NBA All-Star game isn't working for that.
Right.
So they need something that's more isolated so that these players can showcase their skills and show why, in terms of bragging rights, like they're going to want to prove, like no one's going to want to lose that. The spotlight is on you.
Well, I put Kyler on the spot. I'll put you on the spot as well. Who would win that one-on-one tournament out of this year's pool of All-Stars, in your opinion?
Oh, LeBron James.
Oh, come on. She's biased.
I mean, he's the best player in the world for a reason, and he's going to defend that title just as Michael Jordan would do, just as the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars of the world would do in the past, right? You're the best player in the world for a reason. Back it up and show it on the biggest stage.
I feel like Jokic would win it, or Luka, though. Also.
Kevin Durant?
Too slow.
KD
He's
will also,
too
KD
slow.
is a
would also
monster.
be really
How
good.
would Jokic
KD.
match up with a faster, taller?
But if, okay, well, is it winner's ball or loser's ball? Because if it's winner's ball,
Winner's
then
ball.
Jokic scores, then he has the
Make
ball
it
for the rest
take
of it.
Winner's ball.
I think Jokic would take
But
it.
if you're a skilled defender, then how is that going to
And how do you
affect
put a
play?
big against the little? How does the matchups work? Do we do it by position?
Well, no, it's a tournament. You have to have a winner in the end.
Exactly.
I say
can't have
you
a
rank
7 for Wembanyama.
rank them by position, right? You go centers go against each other, point guards go against each other, whoever wins in their respective
The
position.
best guard, the best forward, and the best
I
center.
would argue you get an all NBA selection.
Okay. Ooh.
Top three,
I like
top
that.
three, and
I like
top
that.
three in each position get an all NBA.
I love it. All right, Evan, we haven't heard from you yet. What's your idea? How does Adam Silver fix this?
Well, he fixes it with a monetary incentive. He already kind of did that with the NBA in-season tournament, and it did get some younger players pushing their teams harder. The Indiana Pacers came out of, I wouldn't say nowhere, but close to it. Yeah,
they did.
Younger teams. We're getting to see in the early parts of the season teams that might not be there come the end of it. And I think if we're doing that with the All-Star game, we're going and moving away from, I mean, we saw so many half-court shots, full-court shot attempts, that one by Luka that hit the top of the backboard, and we're seeing that in the All-Star game. And I think it kind of makes sense because there isn't an incentive. If there's a monetary incentive, all of a sudden you bring in competition. Instead of entertainment, these guys aren't going to care that we're entertained anymore.
Right.
They're going to care that, oh yeah, I'm the best player in the world. And I just won $1 million for myself and every other one of my teammates. I think if you give $1 million past taxes, so you factor those out, you can get players that are pretty competitive because Anthony Davis said at the in-season tournament, 500K sounds really good. It's going to bring that juice. Now you can interpret what that juice is. Right. LeBron James also said 500K on the line, so we're going to go for that. Pretty simple quote. Reporter didn't get a lot out of him, but you can interpret that to mean, as I will, that they care. They care about 500K, so they're definitely going to care about $1 million, especially when everyone's watching. Should be a lot more competitive that way.
So $1 million for each All-Star.
Each player, 13
on the
million.
winning team.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to find out the numbers for how much the All-Star weekend actually brings in. Is that
Well,
still profitable?
well, I can tell you how much
That's
the
pocket
NBA.
change.
Well, I can
Yeah,
tell you how much
that's
the
pocket
NBA
change.
brings in.
There we go.
$10.5 billion a year. Last
Right,
year,
that's true.
I think 13 million can handle in that budget.
Right.
But Evan, I know you're a hockey guy.
Yeah.
NHL tried doing this.
Yeah.
Really didn't work out. I mean,
Well, you got
how is it gonna?
The NHL and the NBA bring in a lot different revenue numbers. The NHL's highest salary is far lower than the biggest NBA. Most NBA role players will be making around 7 to 10 if they're in the higher pecking order. That's around your best player in the NHL. Patrick Kane's 2013 Stanley Cup championship contract was around $10.5 million. Same with Jonathan Taves. Those screwed the Blackhawks for contracts. The NBA can easily give away $1 million when they're giving away 20 plus to guys who reach the open market.
But now, what do you guys think about one more idea that I'll throw at you? You have the East versus the West, and the winning conference, whichever team from that conference makes the finals, will get home court advantage throughout it. It's what the MLB used to do. What about that? We don't like that? We like that?
That's too scandalous, I feel. It's destined for failure because there are all-stars, players who deserve to be all-stars on terrible teams, and they won't care as much as the players who are on a rival team who do care so much. So if a player can get away with screwing an opponent on a rivaling team, I think they just might do it, and that's too much controversy.
I see. I like that. All right, so here's the final solution. Dunk contest, all-stars. USA versus World, bring it back to Rising Stars. I don't know why they got rid of it. Then you have a one-on-one tournament, and the winner wins $1 million.
Perfect.
Combine all of them. Adam Silver, I don't know if you're listening, but if you are, we just gave you some pretty great ideas. We'll be right back.
All right, come back in 10 seconds. Ready, camera one. Camera one, get a wide shot of the entire thing, and in 3, 2, 1, take talent cue.
Welcome back to Emerson College. Emerson trails
Camera 4, get a shot of the players coming across the court.
10 seconds left. Emerson trails by 1 point. As
Camera
the
2
team
close on the
finishes
person shooting.
their timeout. Thanks, Joe. With 10 seconds left, Emerson is hoping to pull away and score this big one.
Camera 1, get a close up, follow them over.
Emerson trails WPI 10 points. 10 seconds left. Emerson trails by 1 point as the team finishes their timeout.
Camera 1, close up on number 33.
Thanks, Joe. With 10 seconds left, Emerson is hoping to pull away.
Follow the ball, follow the ball.
Welcome back to the box score. We are just days away from the NHL trade deadline. It's on March 8th. As the playoffs approach, teams are looking to add some last-minute pieces to help them make a run in the postseason. I've got Kyler Maira, Vani Hanamirian, River Caraballo, and Evan Sharrard to break the ice. Get it? Because it's hockey. That's good. Let's break the ice. Vani, let's start with you. Who do you think needs to make a move?
It might be who needs to make a move or who doesn't need to make a move. The Flyers this year were not expected to do anything really. It's been a rebuilding year, but somehow they ended up being third in the Metropolitan Division. With that and the trade deadline coming up, what should they do? There are a couple ideas. Talk has been made about trading Scott Laughton for a first-round pick. Okay. At this point, I think a first-round pick would be the best choice for the Flyers. But then again, Scott Laughton was just promoted to assistant captain and is one of the 3 people that has held that title. Another option is Travis Konechny. Travis Konechny also could be a good pick to trade. But at the same time, he was also just given assistant captain. And do we really want to break that when we have such strong leadership that's led this team that was supposed to be nothing to third in the Metropolitan? My opinion is we go to the blue line. You look at people like Nick Seeler and you look at John Walker. These are 2 players that have had good impact on the team, but not too good of an impact on the team, and you could afford to lose and not ruin the dynamic. They're both set to be free agents next year. Do the Flyers really want to pay money? They're due for a raise. Do they want to pay money for that? For both of them? I don't know. Best bet, wrist alignment.
Okay, I like that. I don't hate that, but you Philly fans are spoiled right now because the Flyers have got to be the worst team out of the 4 that you have. Actually, the 5, the Philadelphia Union. I can't forget about them in the MLS. Also pretty good. But I think you guys are fine with the other 4, so maybe the Flyers can take the back seat this season. Let's head over to River. River, what team do you have, and what can they do to fix their team at the deadline?
All right. Trade deadline, I think New Jersey Devils. New Jersey Devils, when you look at this team, you don't see the same team that knocked the New York Rangers out in the first round of the playoffs last year. You see a team that is struggling in defense and goaltending. And you might think that making a move to go get a goalie might be the first thing that the Devils should do, but I disagree. I think that the New Jersey Devils need to accept their current position, which is not making a playoff run. They're not in a rebuild, but they're not a playoff contender. They need to tune up a little bit. So I was looking at the Rangers and Devils game that happened this past week. All I saw was bad defense, bad goaltending. Luke Hughes, rookie in the NHL. I think the novelty of the sibling dynamic with Luke and Jack has worn off at this point. I think at this point it's just hurting the team. You see Luke Hughes with a really low goal differential, not good at all. You see them skating right past, the defense is non-existent. I think at this point, you need to just kind of shift gears and start selling at the deadline. Right now, the Devils have 5 free agents entering the market. They have Tyler Toffoli, Thomas Nosek, Chris Tierney, Colin Miller, and Brendan Smith, 2 of them being defense. I think by selling them, which they are pretty good, they do have pretty good stats, but I think trying to tighten it up a little bit and get those defensive pairs that work is what the New Jersey Devils need to do at this point. Also, let's talk about goaltending. Let's talk about Nico Dawes with a .895 save percentage and Vitek Vanacek with a .89. Those are not the goal save percentages that you want to have if you want to be a playoff contender.
Yeah.
With Akira Schmidt out, you want to go for goalies, but every other team in the league knows that you want to go for goalies.
Yeah.
So is it really worth it for Tom Fitzgerald to make that move now and risk not being a playoff team? Because right now they're holding on to that second wildcard spot in the Eastern for dear life. So is it really worth it to spend money and just kind of make those decisions when you should really kind of focus on selling at the deadline and building up your young core?
Got it. Very insightful. You can see why we hired these two. Kyler, let's go to a returner. What do you think? What team you got, and what do they have to do?
Look, I love what River said, right? You don't get a trophy for making the playoffs. So you either go for broke or you scrap it. And a team that can go for broke are the Edmonton Oilers. Look, they have Connor McDavid, the best goal scorer that the league has seen for so long.
Best player right now.
Best player right now. And he hasn't scored in his last 7 games. Right. You know why? Because they can't get him the puck. They have no creative players. It's him and a bunch of goons. A bunch of goons who are getting paid 6 times as much money as he is. Look, they're in a cap problem. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is a center for the Edmonton Oilers, and he's getting paid $6.25 million, 6 times as much as Connor McDavid is. Let's ship him off to a team that could use him more, and insert a player who the Edmonton Oilers need more, who's a playmaker, who's being undervalued, who's the most needing of a trade out of any player in the NHL, Jake DeBrusk. Jake DeBrusk is being completely underutilized on Boston.
Okay.
He has just 13 goals and 14 assists this season, despite scoring 27 last year. He's so creative. Every game he makes one super insightful pass that, because he's on the Bruins, sometimes get finished off, sometimes doesn't. Look, if he's passing that puck to McDavid, those go in. The Edmonton Oilers win game after game after game, and they challenge for the Stanley Cup. They're not a team that's, I don't know. They're a team that should be winning, have the pieces to win, and with this one little transaction, that, first off, saves them money. Jake DeBrusk is getting paid $4 million. This saves them money and helps their team so much that they can push for the Stanley Cup.
The Edmonton Oilers, one of the only teams that the Bruins have beat in these last couple weeks in overtime. They're on a 6-game streak right now. I would push back on DeBrusk. I think the Bruins need all the help they can get right now. They need to figure it out. They need to get it together.
They're not getting that help from DeBrusk, and you know who they could get it from?
Who?
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Okay, maybe. Evan, let's finish with you. What's your team? Who you got? What are they going to do?
Well, we're working with the St. Louis Blues over here, and when I was assessing the Blues situation, initially I thought goaltending is the problem. Jordan Binnington, despite winning a Stanley Cup young in his career and playing very well, has regressed in terms of his goals against average. It's up at .290 this season, pretty high. However, upon looking at some more statistics, the Blues are 6th out of 8 teams in the Central Division for goals for. Pretty low, especially for a team that's in 5th in the Central, holding on to one of the last wildcard spots in the Central. They're a team with a really strong top line with Pavel Buchnevich and Robert Thomas, but Jordan Kyrou, Robert Thomas, and Pavel Buchnevich aren't the only options you can have to score. They are 2nd in goals against, despite having a goalie with a 2.9 goals against average. So really what that's telling me is either the defense is not helping or the goaltending is not playing well. And after looking at Jordan Binnington's advanced statistics, he has the 4th highest goals against average expected. However, he is 7th out of all goalies in 25 games or more played in goals saved above expected, meaning that he's saved the 7th most goals expected. Like, they didn't expect him to save those, but he saved them. So that means that he actually is playing well. So they need to improve their defense, even though they've allowed the 2nd least goals in the Central, and they need to improve their scoring. And they're in the playoff race. So I have a couple trades that I'd like to think about.
Okay.
Noah Hanamirian for Jakob Vrana, who has been playing really bad hockey, and you add in some picks or a prospect. One guy that I'm tooling with here is Dalibor Dvorsky, who was their 1st-round pick from this past season. He is a winger, or a forward rather, but you can go and give him away now to get a better player. Noah Hanifin would play strong down in the defensive side of the ice, scoring 9 goals and 20 assists. He's been a solid defenseman over his entire career and would improve that blue line and add a scoring touch as well. But really, I think that they should go for a guy like Jared McCann, who's with the Kraken right now, who have fallen back a little further than they would have expected after last season. McCann has some control in his contract, 4 seasons, and this is where I would be comfortable giving up a guy like Dvorsky, who you just picked in the 1st round, because you can actually get some sustained presence in your locker room with McCann, who's scored 27 goals this season. The Blues struggle to score goals, and their top line is elite. They are currently witnessing some injuries. A winger on their left side is going to be playing his 1st game tonight.
Right.
So they are not far away, and they have competed despite these stats. And if they can add a couple offensive options, they can play better.
Well, thank you all for that insight. You guys are very specific with it. I'd keep it more simple. Bruins, I think they should trade for Connor McDavid, Cale Makar, and Sidney Crosby. I think that would round it out, right?
That would help.
Just 3 7th-round picks.
Yeah, for each of them.
Yep.
I think they'd end up winning the Stanley Cup if that happened. Listen, now while we're on the subject of hockey, the Bruins are in the midst of another solid season despite some rocky waters the last couple weeks. Our correspondents Briggs, Loveland, and Everest Leach headed out to the Garden to see what's been going down. Briggs and Everest, what do we got?
We were out here at TD Garden before the Bruins game day against the Kings, asking some Bruins fans some fun questions, some trivia, playing some games with them. It was awesome. Hope you guys enjoy. How many Stanley Cups have the Bruins won? Do you know? Ooh, 8. It's actually 6, not quite as many. They've played in a lot. Is there a Bruins player that you would not let date your daughter?
All of them.
All of them? You would not? No Bruins player is dating his daughter.
You have to say what job occupation this Bruins player would be if they weren't a hockey player. Does that make sense? All right, so first one, Brad Marchand.
Mob. A hairdresser.
He looks like he'd be some sort of like international banker. I feel like he would own like a Swiss bank.
He should be a plastic surgeon and
Ooh, all right. I haven't heard that one.
get his nose fixed.
Got Pasternak.
He looks like a construction worker, can't even lie.
He would talk about retirement with people. Like community service, like like a good guy.
Looks like he would work at Planet Fitness.
Planet Fitness? All right, that's tough. I low-key go to Planet Fitness.
I do go to Planet Fitness.
This is the Bruins goalie, Jeremy Swayman.
Wow.
What do you think?
Hairdresser, stay-at-home dad.
Finance.
All right.
Yeah,
Finance, bro.
Probably business, finance.
This is Lindholm. He's a defenseman.
Hairdresser. Middle school teacher.
They're the best.
He looks like a hockey player. Like he does what he looks like, you know?
Good vibes only. That's what I'm saying. Good vibes only. Good vibes only.
Thank you both very much. Not too sure how those people gave you those answers, but whatever. You're watching The Box Score. Come back. We're talking more hoops.
All right, come back in 10 seconds. Ready, camera 1. Camera 1, you need to wide shot of the entire thing, and in 3, 2, 1, take talent cue.
Welcome back to Emerson College. Emerson trails
Camera 4, get a shot of the players coming across the court.
10 seconds left. Emerson trails by 1 point. As
Camera
the
2,
team
close up on the
finishes
person
their
shooting.
timeout. Thanks, Joe. With 10 seconds left, Emerson is hoping to pull away and score this
Camera 1, gonna close the follow them over.
Emerson trails WPI 10 points. 10 seconds left. Emerson trails by 1 point as the team finishes their timeout.
Camera 1, close up on number 33.
Thanks, Joe. With 10 seconds left, Emerson is hoping to pull away.
Follow the ball, follow the ball.
We're back. Now, if you've watched previous seasons of the Box Score, you might remember a fun game we played called Manila Mayhem. Now it's back with 2 key changes. We now play in teams of 2, and it's got a new name for a new host, Unseal the Deal. Today we have Mackenzie and Noah, and they're going to be facing off against Kyler and Evan. So each of these envelopes contains a NBA team that is fighting for a play-in spot in their respective conference. Your task is simple. You make the argument as to why that team will make it over some of the others. Mackenzie and Noah, we're going to start with you. Pick an envelope. Let's see who you get.
Should I do it?
Don't mess it up.
Come on, Mike.
Get a good one.
This
All
one
yours.
feels empty.
Who is
I
it?
was gonna have to zoom back.
You can keep it out.
Oh!
No way.
Brooklyn Nets.
Of course.
Now,
Brooklyn Nets.
Brooklyn Nets. Ben Simmons is out right now, per usual.
Carry on.
He's always out.
So the one saving grace for the Brooklyn Nets is Mikal Bridges, who has a proven track record of wanting to be the main guy on his NBA teams. You saw with the Phoenix Suns, he was able to carry that team when a lot of their other star players were out. Noah?
I mean,
You guys seem so enthusiastic about the Nets.
listen, Jackson, you know, if you've seen the box score before last season, I'm a big Nets guy.
Yeah, you said they were going to win it all or something, right? Yeah.
I said
pretty
Eastern
much.
Conference Finals. Let's not.
Okay, all right.
And then when we did hot take back, I said semifinals, Eastern Conference semifinals.
Yeah.
I might just say we make something.
We all make mistakes when we're starting out in the industry, Noah.
No,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
Of course. But as we all know, I'm a big Nets guy, and if we know something about Mays, I'm gonna make a hot take, and that's Nick Claxton. If that's the camera we're looking at, that camera, one of these cameras, Nick Claxton, Defensive Player of the Year, Nick Claxton.
Oh,
He's not the only one. Mikal Bridges and Nick Claxton.
Mikal Bridges.
They're
Mikal Bridges is averaging like 21 a game. I think that he has the offensive motor to get this team going. Now, whether or not Ben Simmons comes back, he was training all offseason, so we'll see. But, I mean, he needs to, this Brooklyn Nets team, they're sad, but they do have a shot. Mikal Bridges, he's a clutch player, proven track record. I mean, I don't know if they can get it done, but they're 11th right now in the East.
That's a guy you want the ball in the hands of at the end of games. I mean, at the end of last season, after the KD trade, after Mikal Bridges got traded to the Nets, I think he dropped 15 or so 30-plus point games. I mean, as the great Matt Doherty would say, he's a DAWG dog.
Okay.
I cannot believe what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
If Claxton can get going on defense and Mikal Bridges can carry it on offense, they just need to be consistent.
They can overtake the Bulls.
We haven't even talked Cam Thomas
What
yet.
you have here is a fortune teller's dream. You don't need a crystal ball to predict something that's already started happening. They've lost their last 4 games, and their downfall is
Actually, one
already
last
going.
night, but it's okay.
They
Whatever.
are
Yeah,
in
I
trouble.
don't know, guys. Let's move on. You two. You don't get the Nets, so it can't
Thank
be
goodness.
that hard. Take the one on top. Let's see it, Kyler. The suspense is killing me.
We have the Atlanta Hawks.
Okay.
A
Not
team
bad. Not bad.
that has just gone under some tumultuous news. Trae Young out for at least 4 weeks. But this is great for them. They're much better without Trae Young. And they're going up against teams that realistically aren't good either. They're in a play-in spot right now. They have to fall worse than the Nets to even drop a spot, and we know that's not going to
Well,
happen.
Nick Claxton's the Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah,
Kyler.
but
doesn't
Noah
matter.
has been wrong before, and he's wrong again. It's what's happened here. And it's okay. We've all been wrong before, and it's just your time right now.
Listen, I think it's amazing that you think that the Hawks are worse off without Trae Young, being that he's an all-star, perennial.
Yeah, that's an
Nick
interesting
killer.
take, Kyler. I won't lie to you.
Being that, the Hawks have the worst defensive rating out of any team in the
However,
entire NBA.
they have the 4th best pace, and they also they are ranked in the top 10 in points per game, scoring over 120.
Right.
The Hawks, in order to miss the playoffs, have to fall behind the Nets.
They're only 3.5 games safe.
Yeah, they are.
Losing
but who's playing for the
Trae
Nets?
Young is a
Nick Claxton,
huge
defensive
blow.
player.
It is a huge
He's
blow,
averaging
but
over 26 points a game, over 10 assists a game.
Yeah.
How do you recuperate from that? The assists
by
alone.
playing better than the Nets, who only have Mikal Bridges to score. Nick Claxton's a great Defensive Player of the Year candidate. He might win it, but
He's not gonna
defense doesn't. Defense.
Rudy Gobert
This
is
is the only sport where great offense beats great defense, and he plays center. And I don't think that the majority of the offense is going to be coming from center with the Hawks. And also, someone on the Hawks that plays great defense is Clint Capella, and he plays center. And I think if there's one guy to match Nick Claxton, it would probably be Clint Capella.
Kongwu as well is pretty good.
And
he's also
Onyeka
having some injury
Okongwu's,
problems.
yeah, thanks for helping me there,
Yeah,
Jackson.
well, you know, I'm not biased.
I feel a little bit of bias.
I think I'll help you guys out next time, all right? Hawks just recently reached 750 wins and 750 losses over their past few seasons. The definition of a mid franchise. One more for the two of you over here. What's it going to be?
Do you want to pick it this time?
I'll
You pick it, because
You
I don't have very good.
I'll take whatever's in the middle.
I don't have very
We were
good
just
luck
talking
with
about
this.
Mid. Would you like to?
Can hold
Got to get a
it.
Western
see,
Conference
top
one
or bottom?
soon,
I
I
would
would
hope so.
I'd assume. It's a Western Conference one.
All right, the
I
Houston
saw it.
Rockets.
Houston Rockets.
Ime
Now-
Udoka, the disgraced Boston coach. What do we
I
got?
feel a little bit of animosity coming over here, Jackson. I feel like you might have.
I'll do my best. I like Ime. I think he's a great
Udoka's one of the
coach.
best coaches in the NBA right now.
Yes, he is. But yeah, Houston Rockets. I mean, granted, they don't play good defense, but what they do very well is pass the rock. They pass the rock very well, especially to their star player, Alperen Şengün, who is obviously what is he averaging? 21, 9, and 5.
That's right.
It's pretty amazing for a guy who's in his second, third year. I mean, that's a team that has lots of depth. Fred VanVleet, a guy that you do not want to face in the playoffs come playoff time in
Dylan Brooks.
Yeah, Dylan Brooks.
Give me Dylan Brooks on any roster. That's a guy you want on your team. Just an absolute bully. You see it with the Warriors, a guy like Draymond Green. You want a guy going into the postseason like Dylan Brooks, just to give your team a little bit more of an edge.
Yeah, on top of that, I mean, that's a Pat Bev type of guy, that Jared Dudley type of guy from that, that 2020 Nets team that we all loved so much. Love and love to hate those other teams like that 2020 Sixers team that knocked us out. But it's fine. It's fine. I don't have any grudges towards anybody.
Rockets currently sitting outside the play-in tournament behind the Lakers and the Warriors. We
And
got
the
time for
Jazz.
one more. Let's see it.
They're also behind the Jazz.
They
Gotta
are.
make
They're
up
in
a lot
12th.
of room. I'll
Yeah.
take this one.
Let's see. Last one.
What do we think? Here we go. We have the Utah Jazz.
The Utah Jazz.
The team right in front of the Houston Rockets.
Former Celtics GM Danny Ainge, former Celtics
Yes.
assistant coach Will Hardy, a lot of ties to Boston. Why would the Utah Jazz take over the Lakers or the Warriors for that last play-in spot?
Well, the Jazz are 9th in points per game, and it's going to be their offense that takes them there, as they're 25th in offensive points per game against, which means their defense is not playing very well. They have some veterans like Jordan Clarkson, and they do have the ability to play better defense. They have a Big East Defensive Player of the Year 2-time in Chris Dunn at guard, and an SEC Defensive Player of the Year with Walker Kessler. Now, granted, they are a bigger team. They grab 300 more rebounds than the rest of the teams they play at 2,705 versus 2,434.
Wow, really in-depth statistics.
Really in-depth statistic. But the point is, the Jazz have to slow the game down if they're going to play better defense, and that means their offense is going to cut back. So it's going to be a tough battle upward, especially since they have to come over the LA Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. But that's what I've got. What do you have, Tyler?
Look, they were in the playoffs just 2 games ago, but they went on a bad run, and now the Warriors hopped them. Look, that trend is going to reverse. They have the talent to flip the script, and they can be a playoff team.
Utah Jazz obviously just dealt Kelly Olynyk and Ochai Agbaji, 2 key players in their rotation. Great job, everybody. Some really, really compelling arguments there. Stick around. The box score. We'll be right back.
All right, come back in 10 seconds. Ready, camera 1. Camera 1, get a wide shot of the entire thing, and in 3, 2, 1, take talent cue.
Welcome back to Emerson College. Emerson
Camera
trails
4, get a shot of the players coming across the court.
10 seconds left. Emerson trails by 1 point. As
Camera
the
2,
team
close upon the
finishes
person
their
shooting.
timeout. Thanks, Joe. With 10 seconds left, Emerson is hoping to pull away and score this victory.
Camera 1, get a close to follow them over.
Emerson trails WPI 10 points. 10 seconds left. Emerson trails by 1 point as the team finishes their timeout.
Camera 1, close up on number 33.
Thanks, Joe. With 10 seconds left, Emerson is hoping to pull away.
Follow the ball, follow the ball.
We're back and we're talking Premier League. Now, Manchester City, Liverpool, and Arsenal have blown up a commanding lead with just a couple of months ago in the season. My resident soccer nerds, Kyler, Maira, and Noah Berkowitz, are here to tear down the top contenders for the title. Noah, we'll start with you. Tell me, why will Liverpool not win it all?
Now, I feel like I've been a little done dirty with this episode. I mean, I'm having to talk bad about all my teams, but Liverpool, I'm a little nervous. All injury issues. Endo, Gravenberch, Salah, Szoboszlai, Jota until April, Nunez, Curtis Jones, Alisson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and Thiago all out right now. That's an entire roster.
And yet they keep winning.
They keep winning
going.
For
Yeah,
how long?
they're
How
gonna
long
be
can
fine.
you play McAllister at CDM?
They have teenagers who are just as good. They just beat
Trent
Chelsea's
Alexander-Arnold
number
is the
one
best
team.
fullback in the Prem. That's not a replaceable guy.
Have you watched Connor Bradley? He's
I have watched Connor
fantastic.
Bradley, and of course I love
He's
Connor
been good.
Bradley. But this is a team, but when it comes down the stretch, which it always does in the Premier League, you're going to want depth. And these are guys that are big players for you.
This year is definitely going to be super tight, I think, in comparison to past years. Though my thing with Liverpool, there's magic in the air. It's Klopp's last season with the team. He already announced. They haven't slowed down with those injuries. Van Dijk is still there, still one of the world's best.
The captain.
Yes, the captain. Gakpo has been playing really well. Like, Liverpool still has these pieces, even with the injuries, because they've constructed a great squad for Jurgen Klopp to use. And you know he's going to want it more than anything. He's going to want to go out with a bang and win.
And they did just win the League Cup over Chelsea 1-0 because of the Van Dijk winner. Well, you'll never walk alone, of course. But it's really all going to come down to that March 10th game against City. And right now, I mean, if you watch the game against Luton today, a hat trick for Haaland and a hat trick of assists for De Bruyne, they look like a scary team. And they've got the most firepower right now in the Prem. I'm a little nervous about that game, especially with all these injuries that not that entire list is going to be healthy by March 10th. So I think it'll be an uphill battle for Liverpool because of the mounting injuries.
All right, we talked about Jurgen Klopp. Let's go to the other best manager in the Prem, without a doubt. Pep Guardiola with Manchester City. Kyler, why will City's reign come to an end? Why are they not going to do it this year?
City's reign will come to an end because of one man named Erling Haaland, who has been horrible and has been the reason why City are struggling.
He had a hat-trick today.
Thank goodness, because he had 5 goals today, and Pep Guardiola is going to see that, and he's going to keep playing him every game, despite him being cancerous for City this season. He scored 17 goals. That's great, right? That's most in the league. 12 of those 17 have come against bottom 10 teams. He has been vacant in the big games. He has been a ghost. He only has 5 assists on the whole year despite being in the perfect positions. His XG is way higher than his actual output. He has been killing the team, and yet City fans, soccer fans love Haaland. He's been horrible.
You're reaching, Kyler. You're reaching so bad.
It's almost like they've got another striker. I can't remember the name. Argentinian World Cup winner.
World
Julian
Cup
Alvarez.
winner.
Exactly. I'm glad you said that. Without Haaland and with Julian Alvarez, the team was averaging 2.6 points per match. With Haaland, just 2.2. This is the thing. They're better with Julian Alvarez.
No, you're reaching, Kyler.
Let's look at last year, right? They were fantastic with Haaland. Haaland, amazing, deserved Ballon d'Or, best player in the Premier League by far. This year, it's a new year. Let's not keep last year's mindsets, and let's just look at what's going on, and he's not been the guy for City.
But top to bottom, City are the best team in the Prem.
Sure,
and they
but
don't
they're
have
not
that
gonna
many
win.
injuries. They have
They're
De
not gonna
Bruyne, who came back.
Yeah,
exactly.
Foden, Ruben Diaz. Their defense is so
We're
good.
forgetting probably arguably the best midfielder in all of world football right now, Rodri.
Rodri as
He's
well.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
They do, but they're not playing their best people because they don't know who they are. And that's why they're not going to
They're going to crush
they could win. They
my
could
Red
win,
Devils next
but
week.
They are not going to, and it's because of Erling Haaland.
Okay, I'll take the easiest one. Arsenal, absolutely no chance of winning the league this year.
Let's not
no,
stop.
absolutely
2
no
points
chance
back?
because it doesn't matter.
They beat
We
them.
all saw what happened last year when they had their chance and they fluffed it.
So now they've got the extra experience.
But the Arsenal roster, top to bottom, can't compare with Liverpool or with City. Bukayo Saka is their best player. If you put Bukayo Saka next to Erling Haaland and Mo Salah, come on. Let's be real. It doesn't even compare. They also have mounting injuries. Okay, but I don't think that the roster top to bottom isn't as good. Gabriel compared to Van Dijk and Ruben Diaz. Who are we kidding here, right? I mean, the fullbacks
But
even.
you just picked the less good one. William Saliba compared to Van
Exactly.
Dijk and Ruben Diaz
It's not
has
even a
been
conversation
way
either.
better.
Saliba has been unbelievable.
The best
He's
player.
one of the best players in the world.
But William Saliba has had a better season
He's
than
had
Van
it.
Dijk, and he's had a way better season.
Come on,
He has.
guys.
Saliba was Everyone was having the conversation at the end of last season, is the Van Dijk reign over? Is Saliba taking over? Saliba has continued that unbelievable run of form.
It's just not time yet. Maybe in the future when Van Dijk retires, Van Dijk is still the greatest defender in the world until otherwise known. It's still him.
Sure.
Van
Haaland
Dijk is better,
the best
and
striker in the
Ruben
Premier
Diaz
League,
is better
but
as
not
well.
this season.
Yes.
Not this
my
season.
goodness. But it doesn't matter about this season because they
It
choked
doesn't. What do you
last
mean it doesn't
year.
matter about this
They
season?
choked
This is what
last
we're
year.
talking about who's
The
gonna
same thing
win
is gonna
this
happen.
year.
But they choked again last year, and now didn't even get in the midfield yet, which isn't even comparable to City and Liverpool.
Right, it's almost like we just saw Liverpool face Arsenal, and who came out at the top?
It doesn't
Because
matter,
of the
dude.
creativity of Martin
Exactly,
Odegaard,
because-
and because of the
You wanna talk
defensive
about creativity? Let's talk about De Bruyne
defensive
now.
solitude of Declan Rice.
Oh.
Just simply won the game. And when
Declan Rice compared to Rodri, who's better? Tell me.
It's obviously
don't
Rodri.
lie.
However, but Declan Rice, you're just choosing these unfair matchups on the pitch. Like
Give me a fair
Saka is-
matchup. Give me a fair matchup.
Saka would easily fit into City's front three.
I don't care about who fits in. I'm
Absolutely.
talking about best player for best player, blow for blow. Give me a fair
Well,
matchup.
if you want to look at form, Saka being the best player for Arsenal has been better than City's best player this season in Erling Haaland.
Okay, Rasmus Højlund for United is tied with Saka for this calendar year for the most goals. Is he better than Haaland? Come on, let's be real.
in this calendar year, yes.
But
But the stats
okay,
say
so
it.
United's going to make a run and win the league then.
No.
United's going to outscore
No.
City for the rest of
They're
the
not.
season.
They're not. But this season, this year, this calendar year, yeah, he has been.
But I'm telling you, blow for blow, these players on Arsenal aren't as good as City and Liverpool. We could go on all day, I know it, but that is unfortunately all the time we have for today. I appreciate everyone in here letting me take the reins, letting me have a go for an episode, even if these guys obviously didn't pick the best talent to come on the episode. They don't really know what they're talking about. Make sure you tune in next week. I'll give you some red hot analysis like this. Jaden Daniels will be a top 5 quarterback by the end of his second season. Wow. Way better than Caleb Williams, who will be a total and complete bust. Wow. Shout out Sam DeCoste for the red hot analysis idea. I always wanted to do that. For Noah Berkowitz, Kyler Maira, Vani Hanamirian, River Caraballo, Mackenzie Bruno, and Evan Sharrard, I'm Jackson Tolliver. We'll see you next time.